The night of on the night of the crash, I was at home, and the first I heard of it was actually a friend of mine who just sent me a two-word text saying helicopter crash ? It's a friend who used to be a journalist. So right, okay, so quickly got on Twitter. I had another couple of messages, and then the phone rang, and a contact of mine phoned me to say, actually the first call I got was somebody saying, I know somebody who's at the scene, do you want their phone number? I said, great. So I phoned the news desk in London. First thing I did was I phoned the news desk in London, said, okay, I know about this, we're on our way, my team are going to be deployed, and here's a number for an eyewitness to get them on air. So that was the first thing I did, the eyewitness went on air. And then from there on, the team I work for is the national news team based in Scotland, so the network news team. So we cover Scotland for the UK national news for the BBC. So we all work quite closely as a team, so if something like that happens, we all immediately phone each other. So I phoned my cameraman, Chaz, and made sure he was on the way, and phoned a producer and made sure he was on the way, and of course they were becoming aware of it in their own way as well, but we all phone each other and check in with each other and make sure everybody knows about it. And then as soon as I could, which was not as soon as I would have liked, because I had my little girl in the house and I was on my own, so I had to get somebody to come round, but as soon as I could, I left the house and went down to the Clutha, and so I got there, maybe the crash was at I think 10:24 or thereabouts, just before 10:30, and I was there not long, I forget, but maybe 90 minutes afterwards I was at the scene. And then you begin the process of trying to speak to people and trying to figure out what's happened, and trying to find people to interview, and obviously film pictures and go on air, and trying to do a whole lot of things at once, really. Trying to, first and foremost, the most important thing for us is to gather the material that will disappear, very quickly. People drift away, people who've witnessed it. The strongest images in this kind of story are quite often at the very, very start. So the first priority is to get those images, to get those interviews, and also at the same time try to do some broadcasting, but you need to gather the material is probably the first priority. And a very close second to that is getting on air. So I was on air, and we're sending satellite trucks down there as well, of course. So the difficulty to begin with was getting very close to it in terms of satellite vehicles and so on, which is always the case with a story like that. But then from the days on, for the next few days, I was just covering it. I was very, very busy. I was writing and editing reports for the BBC's 1 o'clock news, 6 o'clock news and 10 o'clock news every day for the next few days, basically. It was all a bit of a blur.